I don't know if you could put it on his shoulders to save the Cowboys necessarily. I mean, this offseason has been head scratching to say the least, because he said they're going to go all in. So if just getting Zeke is going all in, then I'm sorry, Cowboys fans, it's going to be a rough year. Maybe they'll call Dez. Maybe they'll bring the old gang back together and have, a reunion,
Maybe Playmaker
call
will
everybody.
Come back. I don't know. Yeah.
Maybe the Playmaker. Maybe, but I think
maybe Keyshawn would come back. You thinking about it?
Maybe Keyshawn, all the guys. Why not?
Why not? I think you could help.
No, y'all all right, man.
Call Travis Fredericks, all your great players, bring them back in.
I like that. Yeah, great idea.
But I just don't, the offensive line that Zeke ran behind in his prime and his best, when he was at his best, I think the expectations that Jerry and Cowboys fans are going to have are unrealistic for what you're getting right now from Zeke, what you're getting from this offensive line. You'll have a rookie left tackle. You got great players and Tyler Smith, but I just don't see him being the same player and having the same impact. But at least the fans don't have to buy new jerseys. You can just go ahead and go in the closet, dust that jersey off, that 21, and throw it on your back. So I guess, it may hurt jersey sales a little bit in Dallas, but I don't know if he's saving the team.
What am I asking of Zeke Elliott? What am I asking for him to do coming back on his second tour of duty for the Dallas Cowboys? What am I asking you to hold on to the football, pick up blitz protection, be a leader in the locker room, give us that I don't know, that force that we seem to not have, that leadership on the offensive side of the ball? Maybe those are the things that I'm asking for. It's not a splash, sexy, big money signing like Skip wants. It's a blast from the past that knows the system and understands. And when you're evaluating guys and you're looking at players in the draft and in free agency, and you look and you compare and you say to yourself, could Zeke Elliott, who understands our offense, our culture, and what we want to do, for the veteran minimum and some incentives, is he better than some kid in the 4th round, some kid in the 5th round? Is he better than Boston Scott? Is he better than Kareem Hunt? Those are the sort of things that you have to look to. You talk about the draft grade of USA Today, D for Dallas, or whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
That's their saying. That's what they look. They're looking for the sexy pick. You're the low-hanging fruit in Dallas. So people going to punch on you and beat you up because you're low-hanging fruit. It's easy. But when you look at it, Skip, in all honesty, be honest with yourself for a minute and stop always acting like, oh, my God, the world is ending. I can't believe this. When we went into this draft and we went into free agency, we identified what the Dallas Cowboys were missing, right? We identified it. Offensive line, inside linebacker, cornerback, another receiver, an edge rusher, offensive line again. And when you look at the draft, they hit on all those. That's what they did.
They hit? Really?
No, I don't know about that.
Okay, when I say hit, they drafted them. They addressed those concerns. They addressed the concern of the left tackle, did they not? Where they moved to center or guard or whatever, they addressed it. They addressed the edge rusher. I don't know Marshawn Nealon at all from Western Michigan.
Thank you.
But
by the way, real quick point, he made 3rd team All-MAC. You like that?
That doesn't mean anything. His skill set, may be such that it fits exactly what Mike Zimmer wants to do. Stop worrying about names. That's what y'all problem are in professional sports, is y'all get caught up in the names and get caught up in statistics. When you look at it, Cooper Beebe, they drafted an interior offensive lineman. They needed one.
Yeah, I like them, actually.
How do you say it? Maurice Lafouille or whatever from Notre Dame, the linebacker.
You were standing on the sideline. Did he catch your eye?
I don't remember, Skip, but I'm not going to lie to you. They addressed the linebacker position. You was complaining that they never, they went and signed Hendricks. Well, they addressed it. Cornerback, this kid from Wake Forest. Well, they addressed it. They addressed it. You talk about a receiver. They went and addressed it. Another interior lineman, they addressed it. Another D lineman, they addressed all those issues. Now they signed the running back position, which was a question mark, and they're not done yet. They're just not.
Okay.
Be happy, man.
All right. Go ahead, Richard.
Yeah, I just don't think it's enough. And I'm not with Skip that it's just a D for the draft because they get a starting caliber left tackle. You got an interior line that'll compete for a starting position.
Absolutely.
You did that. I'm good with that. But the running back position is such an easily draftable position. You can get a quality back in the later rounds. You can get a quality back basically anywhere. You can get a quality back in free agency. I don't know if Clyde Edwards-Helaire is still out there, but there are quality backs out there. It just doesn't seem like they're all in the way Jerry said it. I don't see them in on everything and having all these calls. The Eagles seemed like they were moving like a desperate team. They tied the record for trades in the draft. They were moving like a team that is trying to get back on top, trying to keep a great team, trying to move with a sense of urgency, a sense of desperation. I don't see that from the Cowboys, and it's starting to become it's odd. Obviously, Skip is discouraged by it, but I mean, from the outside looking in, it's just odd. Don't say you're all in and you don't make no moves.
Yeah, exactly. So before I unleash, I got to ask our control room and your man, Nick, is my camera working? Because I think it was malfunctioning. Can I do this camera? It's still working? Okay. I thought it was malfunctioning like Jerry Jones has been all offseason. All right, here's the point about Ezekiel Elliott. Clearly, Jerry Jones and company announced this today to try to ease the pain over his not being able to land a single running back in the 7 rounds of the draft. So it was a PR move to placate Cowboy Nation. Zeke's back. Would you believe that Zeke Elliott, in his 8 NFL seasons, has gone down in yards per game every single season? That's hard to do, but he's done it. And he hit bottom in New England last year, where he averaged 38 yards per game. So he went from 109 as a rookie, and his first 3 years were extraordinary. They were Hall of Fame type years. Then Jerry paid him, and he hit the wall that he used to run through. And he drops from 109 a game to 38 a game for New England last year, 3.5 yards per carry, which was a career low. And as we all remember, when he returned to Dallas for that big game, he went 6 carries for 16 yards and caught 2 balls for 6 yards. I'm sorry, I don't see it. He had 1 good game last year against the Jets, which was 16 carries for 80 yards. Maybe he'll help a little bit here and there on short yardage, just going blast from the past.
What are you asking him to do, though, Skip? You act like you want him to come in and rush for 1,800 yards.
They have elevated him to the top of the depth chart. Seriously?
Who said?
They announced that this morning. He's now first on the depth chart. Okay, now, Keyshawn says we're hitting on the draft. I'm going to go quickly through this for you, because here's what I saw in the draft. I saw them at 24 have a player fall into their lap who would have been a perennial Pro Bowl potential player at center in Graham Barton. And I said it on Friday. You had him at 24. You're just sitting there, but you got to get cute. I'm going to get an extra 3rd-round pick. I'm going to move back to 29. And I'm going to take Tyler Guyton. Richard mentioned this. Listen, I know Tyler Guyton. I watched him for 2 years at Oklahoma after he transferred in from TCU. And he has lots of talent at 6 feet 8 inches tall. But it's finesse talent. It's not fire talent. And it's going to take a while for him to develop as a left tackle. And we didn't even get into this on Friday, but you realize what Gutekunst did up in Green Bay. That's the team that kicked our asses, the youngest team in the NFL that kicked our asses in the home playoff game in which we were down 48-16 early in the 4th quarter. He sat right on top of us at 25 and took that kid from Arizona, Jordan Morgan, said, we need a left tackle. We're going to plug him right in, because they lost Bakhtiari. So is he right and Jerry's wrong? Well, I think I'd bet on Gutekunst here, because he's been really right lately in the draft. And then Tampa, 2 picks later, takes Graham Barton, and I'm thinking, what are you doing, Jerry? And we wind up with Tyler Guyton. In the 2nd round, again, I don't know Marshawn Kneeland either, Keyshawn. I don't know. I just look at when you're 3rd team All-MAC and they had 2 edge rushers on 1st team and 2 on 2nd team, I'm a little shaky. I'm a little queasy about it, because it didn't knock my socks off. Then in the 3rd round, the one player I did like is the extra pick that Jerry got, because I know Cooper Beebe from Kansas State, because he's a pretty solid player. And if he can play center, maybe he could start next year. But guess who was sitting there? I told you going in, I first guessed this. Blake Corum, I just love him. I think he's got some imminent in him, and all he did was carry Michigan to a national championship. He was the reason, Keyshawn, that you did not love J.J. McCarthy, because that was all Blake all the time, right?
Yeah.
He's sitting right there. And he went 10 picks later to the Rams. Well, I don't know. I'm going to take him because that's what we need. That is a glaring need. And then you mentioned that Leah foul that they took later in the third round. Guess who's sitting there and who went one pick later? You know Marshawn Lloyd, don't you? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I liked him because every time I watched your team, he just jumped off my screen with explosiveness.
But that's the same guy as a duplicate, be honest with you, as Zeke. Same guy.
Okay, but he's 22 or whatever he is.
I understand that. But when you have an opportunity, Skip, to take a guy that understands your culture, what it's all about in that building, and you can sign him at the veteran minimum and you're only doing a one-year deal, big deal. Big deal.
Okay, but do you like him?
Yeah,
did you like what you saw?
I like Lloyd.
I did.
I do. I like Lloyd.
Yeah, I would have taken him over Leah Fowl, who's a weak side linebacker, who's like a.
But you need defensive linebacker help,
missile.
though.
I don't know. Do we? Yeah, I don't know. Do we need him? I don't see it.
I think you. But Key, I think you could go both. You know, I think they could have drafted him and signed Zeke. You know, that's what good programs do. That's what good franchises do. They add depth. They have quality players. They have great competition. You know, you're taking Zeke and saying, hey, we just picked him up at the point in free agency where comp picks aren't relevant anymore, and he's going to be our starting back going forward. You know, I think that's more offseason chatter to dwell up a little bit of excitement from Cowboy Nation. But I would have thought Rico would have been the starter, you know, coming in just based off the way the depth chart fell last year. But
he's still there.
I don't know. I don't know, Skip. I'm not what if, you know, going if they would have done this, if they would have got this guy. I think they did solid. We'll see how these guys pan out. But I don't think they did enough in free agency early on. Sure, there's more time left. Sure, there's more guys left. But the quality of players is going down day by day. I don't think, I don't know.
Richard, how many teams you played on? 3, right?
3.
You played on 3 teams. In each one of those teams, you attended some sort of something in the month of April, May, June, whatever. You were there running around the facility at some point in your career, right? And the reason I'm asking you this is, here we are sitting in the end of April, going into May. So many camps and stuff like that are getting ready to happen in the next week or two in off-season conditioning. Skip, do you realize that a lot of these players that are currently on your roster or rosters around the league, they will be sent packing in the next month and a half. Some of these guys won't even make it to training camp. These are called bodies, okay? Right. I wouldn't be shocked. And I don't know Zeke's contract, if it's fully guaranteed or not. I have no idea. But I wouldn't be shocked if he got into minicamp and OTAs and all this sort of stuff, and they took a look at him, and he didn't make it to training camp.
They won't do it to Zeke.
I'm just saying,
Jerry
I wouldn't be shocked.
He loves him too much.
I understand he loves him. That's fine. But I wouldn't be shocked. And the reason I say this is because I wouldn't be shocked if Royce Freeman is sent packing.
I would agree with that.
And now all of a sudden Kareem Hunt is available and you sign Kareem Hunt and bring him in.
Maybe.
Okay, or Cam Akers, which was so weird to me. I don't understand why he's not on the roster somewhere, but I wouldn't be shocked if you look up and Royce Freeman is sent packing and then all of a sudden there's a Cam Akers. So I wouldn't, in the end of April, Skip, go all crazy about what they look like today when they don't play again till September.
So help me out, jog my memory here. Who did the Eagles sign in free agency to play running back?
Yes, they
love him.
They went and got Barkley because that's what they felt they needed.
Yeah.
They felt they needed that. Y'all clearly didn't feel that way because you didn't sign Henry and you didn't sign Barkley when both of them was available.
Thank you.
And you didn't feel that way.
What did the Eagles do in the 4th round? They took Will Shipley out of Clemson. And every time I turn on a Clemson game, I just liked the way he balled out. He ran
Shipley,
his tail off.
He's like a little crack version of our guy in San Francisco, of McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Little crack version of McCaffrey.
Yeah, okay. All right, I'll give you that. But I kind of liked him as the backup to Saquon. I think he'll help them a little bit. So last year, go ahead, Richard.
They were all in. Yeah, the Eagles were all in. Jerry was not.
Did the Eagles have a better offseason and draft than the Dallas Cowboys? Yes. But again, Richard, the games weren't played until September.
No.
So much can happen between now and September.
Right, but they also had a better regular season than them too, Keith. They also had a better, you know what I mean? They had a better offseason. They had a better regular season. They had a better draft.
Well, I don't know that they had a better regular season. They lost 6 of the last 7 games. I don't know if that's a better.
Yeah, but I mean, we talk about at the end of the day, it is what it is. You know what I mean? Dallas stumbled into the 2 seed, and you know we talk about that all day.
So much
but
for that.
What I'm saying, right?
So all last year, I told you guys again and again and again, even when they rose to 10-1, the Eagles' defense is way overrated. It's torchable. I will not say that going into next year because they went and got C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and all I know is everywhere he goes, good stuff happens because he knows where the football is, got a nose for the football, knows how to play football. And then you go out and you get Mel Kiper's top 2 corners, and we'll take a little bit of time. I thought the 2 that they had signed, the 2 incumbent corners, are a little overrated as they get up there in age. So I don't know if these kids...
Slay and Bradbury?
Yeah. So will these kids jump right into the starting lineup? They're talented enough to. So I'm just saying I won't be saying torchable going into next year. And Devin White won't hurt either at linebacker.
Right. They took care of the homegrown. They got Saquon. They got guys. I mean, I don't think you're going to replace 2 corners making over $11 million. You know, I think Slay's making 16 this year. Bradbury's making 12. I don't think you're bringing 2 corners in to replace them. If you do that, then that kind of seems like a bad strategy in terms of running a team. But I think they've spent a lot of draft capital on corners. I think C.J. Gardner-Johnson had his best years in Philly. I think he should have never left. They should have never let him go.
Agreed.
They brought him back. He makes that defense a lot better. He makes that pass defense a lot better. But, yeah, Skip, I don't think corner was a need for Dallas. You know, I think Dallas is going to get healthier, obviously. But I don't think they did enough.
Gilly's still available. So they can always revisit that in a month.
But he made his trip to Charlotte, and you're thinking, well, I don't know.
Everybody makes trips.
Okay.
Whenever you get out the building, whenever you visit and you get out the building, that team's not going to sign you because you're gone now. If you're in the building and they sign you, that's different. But once you leave, you're not going back. It's just, it happens that way, Skip. It's just the reality of it.
All right. All I know is that every time I looked up, Philly was doing something great, not good, but great. And they re-signed everybody who mattered. Their 2 big offensive linemen, now their 2 receivers have been paid. And we still haven't paid CD, and then we got to deal with Micah, and I don't know what they're going to do with Dak. And the problem is when I look at Philadelphia versus Dallas, I still like Jalen Hurts more than I like Dak Prescott. I know he struggled down the stretch. They had some internal issues, but I'll take Jalen Hurts over Dak. So
different style quarterback, man.
You know, well, who's better? Who would you take
It's a different style quarterback.
Well, it doesn't matter.
If I'm running with Philly's running, then I'm taking Jalen Hurts.
Okay.
And if I'm running with Dallas's running, I'm taking Dak.
Who would you bet on? Who would you rather have as your quarterback?
Dak.
Yeah, I think you'd rather have
the guy who was second-team All-Pro this year. I'm going with Dak. If you're Eagles fans, and like Keyshawn said, they lost 6 of the last 7. I know you would be on this show right now as an Eagles fan, Skip, saying you would rather have Dak over Jalen Hurts based off of how the season ended last year and what Dak did. So I guess it's all perspective.
Yeah, all I know is that Jalen Hurts lifted them into a Super Bowl and very, very nearly beat Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Played well enough to do just that. Made one glaring mistake in the second quarter that got
Hassan Reddick went crazy.
Yeah.
And whatever that year, he had 13 sacks or whatever it was, the number. But he hit when he needed to, and your guys on your defensive side of the ball didn't hit when they needed to, and so therefore you were sent home early again.
All right. So my bottom line to what I'm looking at with the Dallas Cowboys, I don't even see a playoff roster because I'm here to tell you the Washington Commanders just got a whole lot better in the draft and free agency, and they'll be a factor. Will they beat us one time? They probably will beat us one time. You love their young quarterback.
Can I ask you a question, Skip?
Yeah.
What you said playoff roster. Mm-hmm. What team can you identify with a quarterback like Dak Prescott that did not make the playoffs?
From last year that did not make the playoffs?
Yeah, with a quarterback like that.
Think about it. I don't know.
Any team that has a Dak Prescott type quarterback,
you're
going to make the playoffs.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
Don't tell me, Aaron Rodgers didn't play. He got hurt. But when you look at it, and don't tell me Joe Burrow got hurt. When you look at it, all teams that make the playoffs, Richard, they have Dak Prescott's. They just do.
Yeah, but how many?
They all do.
You know what is
So
it? Every year there are 6 new playoff teams. Of those 6 who made the playoff don't make it the next year. Dallas is a candidate.
But they don't have quarterbacks like this.
They usually don't have quarterbacks. Or they lose their quarterback.
A la Cincinnati. Okay, so don't get all, Dak Prescott. You can't do that, Skip, man.
Okay.
But like I told you at the end of the season, you'll be crying when that dude walk out the building and y'all don't sign him, because you can't tag him. He has a no-trade clause.
Yep.
So all of that, when he walk out the building and go get that bag from somebody else, and y'all sitting there looking at Trey Lance and Cooper Rush.
Yep.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God. Well, we'll be looking at no playoffs, and I think Cowboy Nation will be more than happy to let him walk. That's my point.
How you going to be looking at no playoffs?
You're not going to be looking at no playoffs, Skip. But you got to worry about the defense, because you've had a great defense under. And for everything y'all say about Dan Quinn, Dan has coached his behind off with his defense, and that's almost became an expectation that you're going to have great defense. That shouldn't be the expectation this year. You got to adjust to Zimmer's system. It may take a year, it may take 2 years, and you don't got that kind of time.
Yeah, and Jerry has drafted very well until a year ago when he took Mozzie Smith in the first round, and I just don't see it.
But Mozzie Smith, it's a different scheme now, Skip.
Okay. Well, that was
somewhere. It's different with Zim than it is with Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn wants him to do something totally different than what Zim wants him to do. So Mozzie Smith may become an all-pro under Zim, where he may have been cut under Dan Quinn.
All right. So, Keyshawn, you say I'm always doomsaying about my Cowboys, but I'm not. I'm usually the other way around. 1 year ago right now, I was all in. I was bullish on this Cowboy defense, obviously, and Dak Prescott and the offense until I saw what I saw last year.
Did y'all address?
I've seen enough.
Did y'all address every position y'all needed to except running back in the draft? That's a yes or no, Skip.
Every position we needed to with what?
Tackle, edge rusher, corner, receiver. Y'all addressed it.
Okay.
So you should be happy.
You think Tyler Guyton will start at left tackle next year?
I don't know where he'll start.
Well,
I don't know.
I'll bet he won't.
Well, he may not.
Yeah. Well,
but
that's
he
your
gives
first
you
pick.
depth.
Yeah.
He's 29th in the draft, man.
Okay. By the way, Dak Prescott is 2-5 in the postseason, so wow. I can't wait for the playoffs.
There's a couple other
next year.
quarterbacks I can name that records are very similar, but you feel a lot different about, Skip.
One is Kirk Cousins, right? And we will talk about him in just a few minutes. Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.